What is up, everybody? Welcome to episode 26 of Beyond the Finish Line, a running podcast where we explore everyday runners just like me, exploring our depth, pushing our boundaries. And I get to have some really rad people on this show. So today we have a really, really special guest, Becca Pizzi. Um, it's been really cool. I just started following Becca not very long ago, and she has done some really, really amazing things. Including, and Becca might have to correct me on this because she's done some really, really rad things in her running career. 17 Boston marathons, which is incredible to me. She is a two-time World Marathon Challenge finisher, the first woman finisher of the World Marathon Challenge, which is, and I'll have Becca unpack what that is because it's absolutely incredible. I can't even wrap my mind around doing something this bonkers and awesome. But before we bring Becca on, let's get a little housekeeping out of the way. Friends of the pod, um, your support is invaluable to us. So please do us a huge favor. If you like what you're doing, like, share, rate, review, subscribe to the pod, tell everybody about the podcast. Everyday Athlete Podcast Network we're building an incredible community. We have something for everybody. We have Running Tales with Craig Lewis. He's talking with a lot of really rad road runners, trail runners. We have Enduring Minds with Evan Birch and Jason Bahumandi, where they unpack subjects like men's mental health. We have Melton MVP. It's a space for women of color and endurance sports. We have something for everybody here, and uh, we welcome everyone. So without further ado, let's get into this journey with Becca Pizzi. Hey,
Hi.
Becca. Hey, how's it going?
Hi. Good. How are you?
Yeah, like I said in the green room, I was reading up about you before you came on. Like I don't even know where to start with this introduction, because and I kept finding more and more stuff. Like I even up to about 10 minutes ago, I was like, I saw you did like a TED talk. I'm just like, you are everywhere. So this is really cool, and I can't wait to learn more about you and then share this with our listeners because you've done some really rad stuff, and I really want to get into this stuff. But kind of like what I do with all my guests, I don't want to put you in like a box, like you're a runner, you're this, you're that. I want you to tell us, and this is the big question I try to ask everybody right at the gate: is who is Becca Pizzi?
So I am 45 years old. I'm from Belmont, Mass, which is right outside of Boston. And my dad took me to my first race when I was 6 years old. I loved it. I had so much fun. And it has taken me around the entire world. And it's been an incredible journey. I love to run and I love to travel. So I feel very lucky to live this life that I love so much. I'm a mom. My daughter is 17 years old. So she
Cool.
is going to high school where I went to high school. So I get to coach
Oh,
the high school cross country team and track team that she's on, and it's just been an awesome life so far.
yeah, that's rad. I have a 17-year-old too, and he also goes to the same school that I went to. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Um, So you started running at 6 years old. I read that earlier, and that got me really excited because, I've only been running for a few years now, ultra running only for maybe a couple of years. So someone that's been running that long, because a lot of times you hear, I've heard this story with like people that I went to school with that were like teenage athletes, and they end up kind of losing touch with like their running journey. And a lot of times you see people that pick it up later in life. So you've been running since six with your dad, you said.
Hmm.
So was that? I guess what I want to know is, was it always something that was fun, or was it? Did you always have like a love for running your entire since you were 6 years old? You just loved it so much.
Yeah, so basically, he took me to this race, and I was the only one in the 18 and under category. So they made a big deal about me winning this 5 mile road race and being 6 years old. And I was like, wait a second. So if I run and win, I can get really cool things. And that was kind of like the concept. And then I started breaking records in middle school and then high school and then college. And I'm like, I really love that feeling. I love to push my mind and body and see what I can do. And I'm not afraid to fight. I'm not afraid to put the training work in. And I really do have big goals. I'm drawn to like the ultimate test of endurance and strength and see what I can put my mind and body to. And starting out at 6 and still going now, I just always looking for like that next big race or that next big run. And, I've run a marathon in all the 50 states. I've run all the world majors and the 7 marathons, 7 continents in 7 days. And I love to build my resume.
Yeah. Do you always have something like on your calendar, or is it, yeah, like you're always chasing
Yeah,
after
it definitely, whenever people call me and they're like, I'm losing motivation, what should I do? Sign up for a race because
sign up for?
nothing will motivate you like if you're signed up for a race or whether it's your first race or a marathon you've always wanted to run or an ultra marathon. I say just sign up for it and kind of tell people what you're doing and you'll get some training partners out of it. You'll get some fans out of it that are willing to support you. It's pretty awesome, the running community.
Yeah, I agree. I always like to have something on the calendar, kind of like a carrot to dangle, and it's like if you tell people, you're almost like kind of being held accountable. It's just like, well, like I'm if you made noise about something you have to do, it's like, well, now I have to train, or I have to at least toe the line,
Yeah,
right? So
yeah, that's true.
so you said you ran 17 Boston marathons. And that's like, well, it doesn't matter how you got in, but did you qualify for all 17?
I qualified for all of them except for the first one. I was given a club bib. I've run 25 Boston marathons, and so this
Oh,
would be my
wow. Okay.
21st consecutive. So hitting that 20 consecutive last year was really fun. It was like just so exciting for me. I was like, wow, I hit 20. I'm on my way to the quarter century club, which you get to be in the unicorn club if you're consecutive. And Boston Marathon, I was offered a bib through the Liberty Girls Running Club, and I was so scared. I was in high school. I was so scared. I was 17 years old. And I had so much help through my coach who let me run and my friends and family, and they came to support me, and I raced my science teacher in high school, and it was really fun. And
Oh,
I remember thinking like, I want to do more of this marathon's like really really fun. I want to do more.
oh, wow. So I was going to ask like what your favorite world major is, but I think that might be a silly question. So sorry, I'm sorry, you ran Boston 25 times, right?
Yeah.
Not
Hmm.
17. Okay. Well, I was way off. So what do you think keeps you coming back to Boston? Well, other than I guess proximity, because I think you live out east, right? But what keeps you coming
Yeah.
back for Boston 25 times?
It's where I got my start and it brings back real good memories. And for me, I was that kid that was holding my hand out, like, please high five me. It makes me feel so cool when I was 6 years old. And now, whenever I see a kid with their hand out or anybody, I high five them because you never know who you're inspiring. I really, really love it. And it's just like the greatest marathon in the world. It's so rich in history and running through all the several towns. It's just so awesome. I really really love it. It's very well organized. I have friends and family coming in from all over to run it, and I really it's really just a party for the city. I really enjoy running it.
Oh, I love that. I Full disclosure, I basically skipped right over marathon distance, but I started out, so my podcast was basically, I was just interviewing trail runners, but
Mhm.
I've been like slowly interviewing more road runners, and I think I'm starting to catch the marathon bug finally. And it's not because I didn't want to run a marathon, it's because this is going to sound wild from someone that likes to run 50, 100, attempting 100 miles a few times, is the marathon distance scares me because it feels like I'm gonna have to run it fast. When you're running trails, it's just like you're kind of meandering through the woods and eating snacks and stuff.
Yeah.
So I've really been catching the marathon bug, but I think it'd be cool. I'd like to at least spectate Boston sometime because
Yeah,
it
please,
sounds like it sounds magical, and I would just like to maybe experience it, even if it was from the sidelines, which I think would be really really cool.
please come. Like you will not regret
Yeah,
it. It's so much fun. Just come get yourself out any part of the course. It doesn't matter where you are, you'll be so inspired. But I hear
yeah,
what you're
some,
saying though, because I have to tell you, like when I used to run in college, the 5K, and I'd run in like the 17:30 range. It was so scary and it was so hard, and there was no room for error. And so when I started running the marathons, I was like, wait, I can really mess up in this marathon, recover, come back strong, and be okay. And so I hear what you're saying. I get that you like the ultra distance because that's why I like the marathon better than the 5K.
yeah. So I think it was back in February. So we have like a pretty active Run Try Bike has a pretty active like Strava page, and we did like this 5K challenge. Like everyone got together and was like talking about how their training was going, and I use that as kind of a vehicle to PR my 5K time. And that was the hardest thing that I've done. I trained up for a 100 miler and a couple 100Ks this last year, and training for that 5K was like the hardest thing I've done. Like PRing that 5K hurt me more than probably a 50K. Honestly, I was like wrecked after that.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Yeah.
I totally agree. Uh, so, well, okay. So, how many? I think I read that you ran 100,
Yeah, I'm over
marathons total. Is that
120
correct?
now. Hmm.
Wow. So, and you've done one in
Yeah,
each state,
that's
50
an
states.
incredible.
So are you like registered on the 50
Hmm.
states and fifty
Yep.
marathons and 50 states? Cool. I like scoping that out and just like seeing where people are from. I like that just so to me running that many marathons is bonkers and it's like really cool. So in 50 states outside of Boston, obviously, because you make it sound like such a special place, but outside of Boston, what do you think was your favorite place to run a
As
marathon
I
in?
was winding down and I had 10 more marathons to go, because I already did Hawaii, I did Alaska, and I was like, oh, I should have saved one of those for last. And I'm looking at my map and I'm like, huh, where am I gonna end? And it was like all different Idaho and the North Dakota, and I'm like, what would probably be pretty cool? Jackson Hole, Wyoming. So I emailed the race director and I said, hey, and it's going to be my 50th state. And they were like, oh my God, congratulations. We'll give you bib number 50. And I said, okay, but I'm going to have 50 friends and family flying in from all over. And they're like, well, whatever we could do to make this special for you. They went above and beyond. It was the most beautiful marathon. And for me, it was my favorite marathon truly ever because it was a fairy tale ending to the 50 states. I crossed the finish line with my daughter holding, my hand, and my dad was holding the finish line tape with my husband and just running through the finish line, and I won the race. It's just something that I will never ever forget. It was just an incredible day, a beautiful marathon, and it was my favorite by far.
Oh, that sounds magical. That's so cool that you get to share that with everybody and like your family,
Yeah.
and that's really neat. So Jackson Hole was
Yeah.
probably your favorite one
Yeah,
of your
my
favorite
favorite,
ones.
my
That's
favorite
that's
marathon.
amazing.
Obviously, Boston is my favorite. It always will. It's hard to
Yeah.
top that, but yeah, this was the second favorite.
Um, so when did running? I mean, obviously you started running young, but I guess I'm wondering, like, when did it become like this serious? Like, like, how do you progress from 6-year-old Becca running with your dad to like, obviously we're going to get into some really really cool stuff that you've done, but where did it progress? Like, what was your first marathon? I guess I'm just
Yeah, my
curious
first
about that.
marathon was Boston, and I was 17 years old, and then
Okay.
and then I
Yeah,
kind of
17.
like
Okay.
I went to Cape Cod and ran that one, and I was like, "Where's all the people? Where's all?" It wasn't the Boston Marathon, and so I am drawn to like the World Majors, which is the biggest marathons, and the London, Berlin, Tokyo, New York, Chicago, and Boston. I really enjoy those, and now they just recently added Australia, which I'll definitely go and do that again. I guess for me, I coached the high school girls track and cross country teams, and I say, like, whether you're here for gym credit or whether you're here for PRs or, make friends, it's up to you, but you're going to get out of the season what you put into it. So don't expect to come out here and PR if you're not showing up. It's really important. Keep showing up. And for me, it was high school where I was like, I want to run in college. I'm not done. Like, oftentimes, people run in high school and they're content, and they may pick it up, marathons up or half marathons up later on in life. But I was not done. I was just loving racing. I really enjoyed racing. So, also competing in college is no joke. You're trying to study and you have your sport and you have to keep your scholarship. It's very, very stressful, and your grades up. And but I really, really loved where I went to college out in North Carolina and met the coach. Got along really, really well with the coach, and met some awesome friends and who were like my sisters, and it was a good experience for me.
Well, that's cool. These, I bet going through all that with like your team, are you still like like close with any of them?
Yes.
Like, cause
Oh, for
that's like a
sure.
lot you're going through. Yeah, I
Yeah,
can
because you
imagine.
do. You go through, running is a tough sport. It will chew you up and spit you out. And between mentally and physically staying healthy, it's a battle. So I really am very, very close with the girls I raced with in
Oh,
college.
that's cool. What was your distances that you kind of specialize in high school and college?
Um, the mile and the two
The
mile
mile.
in high school, and in college it was the 5K, which was around a
Okay.
track, never ending.
Wow. Every time I see people that specialize in it, like, my goodness, like,
Ugh,
you just
them.
yeah, you'd have to be dialed in, right? Like,
Not
you're
only that, but they put the 5K last in college, and you're like, I am waiting
Have
all day, 5 hours to run 12 laps around and a half laps around a track. Like, that is
wow.
abusive. They should have that first.
Yeah,
But
no pressure,
that's part
right?
of it. They're probably like, who can handle running last? The 5K people can.
Yeah, no pressure, right? You have to wait around all day, and then the one of the longest events of the day is right at the
Yeah,
tail end.
let's put that last. And sometimes it was 90 degrees. I'm like, I'm gonna die, or I already have blisters on my entire body from being hot.
So something that really struck me when I was reading about you, and like I listened to you on another podcast a couple days ago too, and I can't remember the name of the podcast. Now I feel really bad. It was a really good episode. Um, and something that came up was the World Marathon Challenge, and I'm still trying to wrap my mind around what is happening. Like this is so I guess I'll try to get this right. It's 7 marathons in 7 days on 7 continents.
Yeah.
What continents are those on?
So I read about it, and when I really knew I was born to do this race, is people were sending it to me, the link. They were like, "You've got to do this, Becca. Like, you were born to run this race." And I was like, "I heard about it. I'm gonna do it. This sounds so awesome." And it was Antarctica, Chile, Miami, Madrid, Morocco, Dubai, and it ended in Australia. And the training was one full year. I was like, if I'm gonna go after this and have a shot at making history, I'm gonna put 1 year's worth of very hard work into this. Um, and I asked my daughter, "What do you think about this?" And she was like, "Yeah, mom, you got it. You can do it. I believe in you." So that was really awesome to have her support. My parents really weren't on board. They were like, "No, that sounds dangerous." It was actually during ISIS, so the timing was like really bad. Um, and and so, but I really was like, I'm gonna go for it. I have nothing to lose, and I told everybody that I was doing it, and it was so awesome. And you just took one. I trained for 1 year. It was 100 mile. You're running 100-mile weeks and CrossFit, personal training, just checking off all the boxes, nutrition, and it was so much fun running. But the first one was Antarctica, and it was so scary because you're running a marathon on a glacier with all this gear. So I went to EMS Sports, told them what I was doing. They gave me this Summit Series gear that they climb Everest in, but it's windproof and waterproof so that the sweat doesn't stick to your body. And just
Yeah.
running, it's 24 hours of sunlight, and it's very, very strong sun. So I had to have like head to toe covers, running in goggles, things that I really wasn't used to doing. So my motto was get comfortable being uncomfortable and you'll make it. You're going to be sleeping on planes and you're going to be running in all sorts of terrains and crossing 16 time zones over the 7 days. And it's going to be hard, but it was it was just wild ride, really fun.
I think I read an article somewhere that it got so cold that you had an iPod, like
Yeah.
the battery like did it
Yeah,
explode?
I was like, I'm gonna have my iPod on me as a security blanket if I need it. It's there. I don't know. I mean, you could hear a pin drop in Antarctica. It was so desolate. It's a desert. So you're like, once you spread out from the pack, the guys were ahead of me, some guys were ahead of me, some people were behind me. I was like, what? And so I was in the first like 2 miles, I just wanted to pop um, my music on and and it was like battery dead and I'm like, oh no, what am I gonna do for 4 hours, like? And but I looked around and I was like, you're never coming back. I came back because I wanted to run the race again. I wound up doing it twice. And but I was looking around and I'm like, I felt so lucky to be there. Like, how lucky am I running a marathon in Antarctica? Like, I just felt like it was so surreal.
Yeah, I mean, I've never been to Antarctica, but sometimes I'll catch myself like kind of in the middle of like an ultra, and I'll be like how cool is it that I get to like I could I could be like sitting on a couch staring at a TV, instead I
Yeah.
get to be like on this like really cool climb, and I get to see these cool things.
Yeah.
So yeah, I can definitely align with what you're saying. Like to me, like probably to most people, running in Antarctica sounds like really wild, but I could see how that would be probably surreal. And I mean, obviously, well, more than once in a lifetime experience because you've done it now twice. But yeah, that's just so wild. I have a ton of questions about running in the cold.
Mhm.
I imagine that you just have to be like your clothing has to be like dialed in, like because like you sweat, you're in danger,
Mhm.
right? So
Yeah.
um,
Yeah. You
yeah, I
don't
can't.
want to
I'm
get,
just
yeah, that's the Antarctica is definitely the elephant in the room. That's the one that's like, how embarrassing would it be if I didn't finish the first marathon in Antarctica due to like frostbite or whatever? And so I went to Montreal. I took my gear to Montreal and went there and ran on the river and just ran and ran and ran and like
okay.
what works, what didn't work, what wool socks, what are two pairs of socks going to feel like? Is that do I need to get a bigger pair of sneakers to accommodate the two pairs of socks? What's it like to run in wool? Is that going to give me blisters for the next 6 marathons? And then the gear, like, should I wear two shirts below? Should I wear one shirt below? Should I wear two hats? Should I wear goggles? Should I wear sunglasses? So I took everything to Montreal 4 times and just where in New England, we're hitting 0 degrees, no problem. It was -20. So in Montreal, it was just perfect enough for me to go on a 20-mile run and be like, okay, this worked for me, this didn't work for me. And luckily for me, it was a 5 hour ride, but car ride to Montreal for me. So I was able to test my gear there. There are people that come in that have never ever run in cold weather before because we're
Oh.
all from all over the world. And I was like, I don't know what you guys are gonna do. Like I mean, that would be really, really hard for me, but uh, everybody got through it.
Oh, that's great. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, it gets cold in Indiana, but like, yeah, it doesn't get like. There's no way I don't know how I'd prepare for something like that. So it's just
Yeah.
that blows my
The
mind. Like
wind. The wind is strong. The wind in
the wind.
Antarctica is no joke. It's very strong.
Um, well, this might be a silly question, but out of all those continents, which was like the most brutal, like the most tough?
Definitely besides Antarctica, because it's really the wind and the sun for me there in the cold. Um, I really thought, and then it rained in Madrid, which was really frustrating because finally we get this 50-degree day. I'm like, yes, finally it's really nice. And it rained sideways. I'm like, oh, this is really, really exhausting. This is hard to run in this. And then Colombia was 90 degrees, and that was really hot. It was like a sauna. And I was just like, and at that point, I was so close to finishing that I was like, it doesn't matter. I'll be okay. But that was like I was seeing stars when I was closing my eyes. That was a tough one.
Oh wow. Um, God, I have like, how did you said you were running 100-mile weeks? Like, so what other training were you doing? I mean, you obviously, I'm assuming that like running is obviously a huge part of this, but
Yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and guess that like strength training had to be like paramount for for back to backs like this. So
Mm-hmm.
like
Yep. So
maybe yeah. So run me through that because I'm just like I don't
yeah,
even I can't even wrap my mind around the kind of training that you would have to do for this.
you know what it is? Because the races were run at all hours of the day, I would run at 2 p.m., 4 a.m., whatever, like midnight, because once the gun goes off, you have 180 hours to finish. So you're running, you're running a lot of these races we wound up running at night. So you're just you touch down, plane, take a bus, chartered bus over to like a pond or a bike path and then run the certified course and then head back. So the first 6 miles of every single marathon was really, really hard. But for my 100-mile weeks, I would run 20, 15, 20, and then go 10, 10, 10, 10 to equal
Okay.
100. And so 20, 15, 20. So those 20, 15, 20s, those were bare. Those were tough. And then you had 10,
Yeah.
10. And so that was able I was able to get 20, but knock out those early huge miles early on, and that's what kind of was going to feel like. And
Yeah,
then
those
lots of
that
like, yeah, yoga. I do a ton of cross yoga, core power yoga, just so that I could sweat and um, that helped me out a lot too. I bought a sauna and did some sauna training.
I was wondering. I was like, yeah, I certainly had to do some heat training on top of all
Yeah,
the like, yeah.
because it was
Wow. Yeah, yoga is something I've been trying to get back into. I know it's funny because like I didn't. It wasn't like I made fun of yoga, but I didn't like take it
yeah.
serious
I
until I
I used to
did.
hate it. Yeah,
Yeah, until I did yoga, and I was just like, wow, that was like I did like
yeah.
this 30-minute fat bird. It's like yoga by Adrian on YouTube, and it kicked my
Mm-hmm.
ass. I was just like,
Oh yeah.
I take back everything I said about yoga because it's
It's
serious, but
it's tough. It is really tough. I take core power yoga and it's heat sculpt. So we're lifting weights in the heat and you're gonna get out of it what you put into it. So I try and lift a little bit of heavy weights and I wear like a long sleeve shirt and long sleeve pants and I'm like the only one doing that. But it helps me so much. I used to be like, it's really not for me or I don't really love yoga. But then when I wasn't going to class, I could feel like some tweaky and stuff going on. I'm like, oh, that's not good. I got to go back to class. So I go 3 days a week.
yeah, I don't know why I resist it so much because the same thing. It's like when I do yoga, like
Yeah.
I always feel so much better, especially after like some peak training weeks with yoga.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
then but yeah, so it's I might have to pick that back up. So
Yeah.
I'm just now I'm like kind of in my last 2 or 3 like peak training weeks or something. So maybe I'll start throwing that in there. So I've never
Do
tried
it.
hot yoga. So hot yoga sounds fun. I've heard a lot of people like say they love hot yoga, but
It's awesome. Core Power, they do a first free week. So make sure you get the hot class, heated class, and just try it for a week and see what you think.
yeah, I'll give it a go. So digging back into the World Marathon Challenge because this still blows me away. I have to ask, there might have been several of these moments, but were there any moments like during completing this where maybe you had like a thought like, what am I doing? Like, what can I complete this? Did you ever have those moments? And if you did, like, how did you push through like those moments?
So that's a good question. There were a lot of times when I was like so exhausted. The highs were really high, the lows were really low. And I got in a situation where I tore my groin in Dubai and
Oh,
I still had to finish that marathon and then run one more. And I just remember reading this awesome quote from Tom Brady in the Boston Globe and he said, I didn't come this far to just come this far. And I
oh
gave up a
yeah,
year of training in my life. And I left my daughter at home so I can go like follow my dreams. And I was like, there's no way I can't finish this race. There's just no way I have to finish. Um, and so I just suffered through the last marathon and, and my parents were live on Skype as I crossed the finish line. And it was like, and they were crying and I was crying and I was like, we did it. I can't
That's
believe
so cool.
we did it, like with an injury that I got. But I worked really, really, really hard. I will never, ever, ever go to a starting line underprepared. If I'm not ready, I'm not racing. So I have to get my mind ready, and that means envisioning crossing the finish line over and over and over in my training until that feels good. When it feels good, I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, I got this, and nothing's gonna stop me from crossing the finish line.
Oh, I love that. That's a great quote too. I've actually used that myself for like when things get low. I always kind of remember that, but yeah, that's a
Yeah.
great quote. Um,
Hmm.
so you finish the World Marathon Challenge, and what's even cooler about this, outside of the fact that you completed this really badass feat, is you're the first woman finisher of the World Marathon Challenge, and also not only that, but that's a world record, right? Was
Hmm.
so um to run me through the emotions of like when you cross the finish line, and then I'm you knew that going into it that if you finished this would be the case, but kind of just run us through like the emotions, like how you felt crossing the line, like because you did something incredible. And not only that, but you have a record. I mean, it's awesome without the record, but you had a world record attached to it, which is awesome too. Like, run
Yeah.
us through like the emotions. Like, how did that feel? Like
Oh,
accomplishing that?
I mean, getting the Guinness Book of World Records, making history, doing what you love, representing your country, there's nothing greater in the world. And it was so special, and having so many, I couldn't even cross the finish line. There were so many people, and I was like, wow, for me, like this is really, really took my breath away. And all the Associated Press was there and taking tons of video and photos. And I was like, my world is about to just go viral. This is wild. And how lucky am I that, to live this life? And it could have gone really, really wrong. It really could have, it really could have gotten ugly. And I was lucky that, but I kind of felt like I deserved it. I put the work in, and
Yeah,
not only over that year, but over my entire life. I mean, I've been running since I was 6 years old. And, there's been marathons in New Hampshire when I ran the New Hampshire Marathon, and it was negative 14 degrees. It was freezing. And then I ran Hawaii when it was like 92 degrees, and, suffering through all these races. And, the ones that went really right. But when life doesn't go your way, you have to just regroup and stay on track and don't give up, and there's been times in my life where marathons just went sideways, and I just run the mile that I'm in, run the continent that I'm in, and just take it mile by mile until you regroup. And sometimes that just means getting an extra goo, getting some Advil, getting a hug from somebody out there in the course, or whatever you can do to turn it around. But don't give up, just keep fighting, because it's worth it in the end. That's kind of how I live my life.
yeah, I love that. It's yeah, you've been like you said, you've been like sharpening this iron for a very long time. So that's you earned the hell out of it. Um,
Hmm.
and you did it twice. So, and that's pretty rad. Yeah, it's
The
funny.
second
Like
time,
yeah,
yeah.
the second time, how did it feel going into that?
Scary. Like it was like running a
Scary,
second
still scary.
marathon. It was kind of like your second marathon feeling like, all right, I did it. How can I do it better? But everybody was like, she's already, she's done this. So, but it put more pressure on me because I had Tom Brady's help. And you cannot come in second place with TB12's help. It's not an option. So, I got a lot of pliability support and nutrition support, electrolytes from them, and they were just went above and beyond, flew to the finish line to cheer me on and support me, and it was awesome. It was really, really special. So, but the stress of having his help and winning it was a lot harder the second time.
How did that? How did getting Tom Brady's was it like him and like his team, like his?
TB12 at Foxborough.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I went down.
Tell
Well,
me.
what happened was, yeah, so I did the TED Talks, and and I had did a couple other things, and people asked me, and I said that Tom Brady, I didn't come as far to come this far. It's Tom Brady, and he heard of it, And he's like, if you want to run this again, we'll support you. Whatever we can do to help you.
Oh.
And I was like, oh my God, yes, of course, I would love to. So, and I knew when I was running it the first time, I'm like, you're never gonna do this again. So go all out. But then as you're nearing the finish, like a marathon, you're like, wait, maybe I can do it better and faster, you know? So, but after the second time, um, I decided that's it, no more, and I became the race director of it. So now I race direct the World Marathon Challenge, and it's a dream job for me. Like I get to,
Yeah.
there's nothing in the world like watching. We had 62 runners from 21 countries and handing them their medals, every single one of them over all 7 continents. There's nothing in the world that beats that feeling.
Oh yeah. Like, um, yeah, I've worked I worked a finish line last October and was like handing out the awards, and it was like the coolest thing. Like, not I mean, I'm not as a race director, but I was just kind of there helping. But it was like I think that might have been my favorite experience is seeing people cross the finish line and get their medals. Um,
Yeah,
so what the Tom Brady thing blew me away. I guess I didn't realize that. That's so cool. Like,
yeah.
um, that's amazing. So yeah, that's just really rad.
Hmm.
So you run it twice. At what point in time were you just like, you know what? I'm gonna try and race direct this thing too. Like maybe run us through like how that came up or like what made you take that on?
So the owner, Oliver Wang from California, was like, "Do you want to run? Do you want to run it? Do you want to? Would you? We have an opportunity for you to race direct it." He just bought the race, and I said I would love to. It's a dream job for me. So what I did is we have another marathon, the Antarctic Ice Marathon, and I said, let me just. That's a standalone one. Let me go down there and race direct that and see how it goes, you know, and see if I mean I'm the race director of my own 5K in Belmont. It's given $100,000 in scholarships to graduating seniors, and I know what that feels like, and I know that's a lot of work even for just a little tiny 5K in Belmont. So I went down and I did the ultra ice marathon in Antarctica, and I loved it. I was like, oh yeah, I'm in for the 777. I really love this. So I announced to everybody that I was doing it, and they were like, that is literal perfect job for you, and I loved it. So I'll be doing it until forever, probably for as long as I
Oh,
can do
that's
it, as long as the owner and the owner is just the nicest guy. He's just such an awesome friend, and he had run it himself, and we make a good team.
oh yeah, that so the Arctic marathon, that's the one that we were talking about this a little bit before the show,
Hmm.
and that's the one the first year that you did it, was that the year that Paul Johnson ran it, or was that how
Yeah,
long? Yeah, okay.
so yeah, and him and Rob came down. And they said, okay, we're looking to run the 100 miles. We have a marathon, and then a 50K, 100K, and the 100 miler. And they said we're looking to do the 100 miler and break the record. And I was like, whatever I can do to support you boys, I'm in. I mean, they're military. They're so fun and funny, but they worked so hard. I mean, watching them out there for 23 hours was just, it was so inspiring. I didn't sleep. I was like, I'm there for these guys. These guys are awesome. I'm really proud of them because it's no joke. It's very scary to run even a marathon in Antarctica, and they were out there for 100 miles. So it was
That's,
really fun to watch them, and they were just so grateful and thankful, and it's been fun being their friends.
yeah, that's so wild. Yeah, when he was running the Transcon, there was a group of us that I run with. We were just like glued to his feed, and I was so bummed because he basically ran like 20 minutes north of through. He ran through Indiana too, and he wasn't that far from me. But it was like right. I should have just called in to work to go run with him that day. I wish I would have now.
Hmm.
But yeah, so yeah, and then like I mentioned, when I was out in Rhode Island a few weeks ago, we were like kind of in the same areas where I've seen him run on Instagram. I was like, how cool would it be if we ran? Like we're like we're all huge fans. Me and my buddies are all like huge fans of Paul Johnson. But so we were
Yeah.
like when we were out there running, we were like, how cool would it be if we ran into him while we are here? Because I know there's like some places out there that he runs a lot, but
Yeah. Oh,
so
he's so
that's what.
likable. They're him and Rob. They're the best friends club. They're so fun. And then there's Wyatt. And Wyatt ran the 7 marathons, 7 continents in 7 days. If you're not familiar with Wyatt, he's a great guy too.
Oh, cool, yeah. Uh, so so you've been race directing? Is it for Run Buck? Is that
Run
who?
Monk. Yep.
Yeah, okay.
Mm-hmm.
How long have you
Based out
been
of
with
California.
them?
1
Okay,
year. Friends,
one
friends
year. Okay.
for yeah, friends. I would say for 7 or 8 years, and um, they have the Northern Lights Marathon. They have Volcano Marathon, Easter Island, and North Pole Marathon. We have two options. We have a summer and spring edition, and
Wow.
I love his extreme marathons. They're great. And then he's a tour operator, so we go to London, and it's really awesome. He does a good job.
Oh, cool. Um, so I'm getting ready to direct my first race in October. So I guess now I have some race directing questions because
Anything.
I have to know 7 continents, 7 days, 7 marathons. How on earth do you like deal with all the logistics of getting? You're setting up 7 start lines, finish lines.
Hmm.
I can't even imagine all the moving pieces that you have to like orchestrate to make this happen. Like I'm blown
It's
away
a
with that.
logistical nightmare. I mean, you're dealing with who needs visas. You're telling each runner, you need a visa here, you need, and then certifying 7 courses, and then getting buses, transportation, and for every continent, and permits for all 7 continents. It's a lot, but now it's cookie cutter. So we have great relationships with the people that we're working with on the ground on it, all 7 continents. So that's really helpful. Usually we can get a permit for the same date every single year and it's no issue. So, um, yeah, thank God we work with great people on the ground on each location because they really go above and beyond for us and they're the unsung heroes of the group because they support us through anything that we need. And, it's kind of like when we touch down, there's a run club waiting for us and they line the course and then with food and everything that we need, electrolytes and cheers and support and a bike, somebody to go out and set the pace on the bike and so the runners don't get lost. We're very lucky to be working with such great people.
Yeah, that sounds incredible. Like that just yeah, just like from my view, I'm just like, how on earth do they get all this together? But
Yeah.
it sounds like you have to have and do have like a really, really good team to keep that ball. I imagine you like soon as the last day is done and you tear down the finish line, you're probably the next day planning for the next year. I
Oh,
would
it's
have
a
to imagine.
year-round process. Yeah, it's an absolute year-round process. We melt into bed after we cross the finish line and take it down and everybody's done. We melt into bed for like 24 hours we sleep. And then boom, it's planning for next year already. Just making sure that we can get the permits again, making sure that we get the everything. And then we have big meetings on what went well, what do we need to work on, what do we, so that's a big role too.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, that's just so wild. I would like to take something like that on. Like, in my heart, I would, but wow, this is.
Yeah. It's worth
I'm kind. I've become. I mean, I've become kind of a fair weather runner lately, but um, I'm still pretty good when it comes to cold. But rain, like I just hate running in the rain. I can do it, but it's like
Yeah.
it's heartbreaking. Like you talk about sideways rain, and
Oh,
it's like
it was
when it's
brutal.
raining that hard, I'm just like, oh.
Cold rain in
But
Madrid, that was brutal. It was really hard. I was like, oh my God, are you kidding me? We get 150-degree day because everything else was 80 plus or -20. And then we get a 50-degree day. I'm like, it's raining, really? Okay.
what's so you get to see all these people cross the finish line and like
Hmm.
complete this really badass stuff. Like, what's your favorite part as a race director? What's your favorite part? What's your favorite like moment or like thing that happens like at the finish line, or what's your? I guess what I mean is like, what's like the most rewarding experience that you get as a race director for like such an awesome event?
I love getting their bios because you're learning who they're running for, whether it's a country, whether it's most of the time, a lot of times it's for a cause. So you're getting to learn their causes. And then when they're crossing the finish line with their cause on their shirt and they're just crying, I'm like, wow, that is really, really special. Or the flag, whether breaking a record or whether they're whatever, or they're active military, so they're doing something with that, or there's 62 runners with 62 reasons, and those reasons are very different, and you get to learn through them. You're watching them, you're watching them calling their support team, and you're watching them because you're in close headquarters the whole 7 days. So you're on a plane living together, and to watch their journeys is really special to be part of that. And then watching them cross the finish line on all 7 continents, but especially at the finish line is like I was crying with them. When they were crying, I was crying, and because I've been there, so I know the feeling. And B, watching for their own journeys, and it really is. And having their friends and family there too, it's really awesome.
Yeah, I think I could see how that would probably be really rewarding. Like, because runners are incredible people, and get like
Mhm.
running's fun, but I just really love getting to know like the person like behind like the distance or like the time. So getting to experience something like that is probably really cool, and really you get to see something like you get to see them like raw too, like they're
Mhm.
going through an incredible feat to get to that finish line. But
Very true.
uh, something something I wanted to ask you about is so obviously you're very deeply involved in like your community, your local community, and outside of that. Um, could you talk a little bit about the Becca Pizzi Foundation and like what inspired you to start this? Is that what the okay? Is that what the 5K in Belmont is for? Is for that foundation, or is this a
Yeah.
separate? Okay,
All the proceeds. I have a book that's sold in all 50 states. Becca's Feet on Feet. My dad titled it. It's a children's book. And that goes to the foundation. And then the community had a parade for me. They gave me a key to the city. They had, they put me on a fire truck, and I got to go through the town with it, through the town. And they really came through for me. And I felt really, really lucky. And I kept thinking, like, how can I give back to the community? So I started a 5K, and it's going on its 10th year this year. And, um, I love it. I'm really, really proud of it. And to be giving like giving out $100,000 in scholarships, it
wow.
means so much to me. I feel like I'm making a difference in giving back, and I'm really, really proud of that. And um, I do a lot of things, but this is one thing. I really love coaching at the Belmont High School, and I really, really love giving back to the community and reading all the applications. And it's really, I really, really enjoy it. We have 500 runners. We kind of cap
Oh
out at
wow.
500 just because that's all really. I don't want parking issues and stuff like that. But um, it's great. Some people it's their first 5K ever, and then some people are running it really, really fast. And we have ages. Oh my gosh, like 2 all the way up to 90. And I really, we're handicap accessible, and we just have something. We're pet friendly, stroller friendly. I just want the community coming together, having a race, and going about their day. So it makes me feel good.
Yeah, I love that. Oh, I love that. What did you already mention what the 5K raises money for?
So all of the money goes towards the foundation.
Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
my foundation. So all of the funds every single year go to the foundation.
That's
And from me,
amazing.
to give high school graduating seniors scholarships, and then sometimes sports equipment, whether they need
Oh,
whatever
okay.
they need, basketballs or hockey, whatever,
That's
or
amazing.
track.
That's cool. You wrote a book. I talked to who wrote a children's book too. Um, check out. It's called Maya Runs a Marathon. My friend Christy D wrote it. That's so weird that not weird, but so cool that the more and more runners I talk to, the more and more I realize that a good number of them are also published writers. So that's really cool. Um,
Yeah.
that's amazing. Um, well, I have. Hey, thank you so much for sharing all this with us. This has been incredible. If um, if I could, I would like to ask. So you do a lot of stuff, and this sometimes I ask this because I want to know what the secret sauce is because I take on a lot of stuff too, like we all do. How do you balance all these things? Because I know there's some stuff that you do that we haven't even touched on. Uh, so you're a race director, you're a runner yourself. You're a coach. You've written a book, which is amazing. You have the Becca Pizzi Foundation. I think if I'm understanding correctly, you also own a daycare center.
Hmm.
How do you strike a balance with all this stuff?
So my life is like a puzzle. I love everything that I do in it. So it does not feel like work, you know. And I was lucky enough to compete in Kona, Hawaii World Championships for the Ironman and Nice, France. And that's the run, bike, and swim. It's 2.4 mile swim, 112-mile bike ride, and then a marathon. And I said, how the heck am I going to fit 21 hours of training a week in a week, like with run, bike, and swim? How am I gonna do this? But like, you know, my day starts at 4:30 in the morning, and but I love it. I just really love my jobs and my foundation, and even I'm a notary, so I'm being pulled in different directions all the time to notarize stuff and coaching. I love my life, so I feel like it's not work. It's exhausting at the end of the day. I'm really really tired all the time, but I really feel lucky to live this life. I really love it.
Yeah, same. It's like sometimes I get a little overwhelmed spinning like all these plates, but it's
Yeah.
like, well, it's it's a labor of love. So that certainly sounds the same with you, and that's incredible. Um, yeah, just keep kicking ass. Like it's been so cool, kind of digging into like all the stuff that you do. And then you said you did a triathlon, so you had to throw in like a couple different like but biking and swimming on top of
Mm-hmm.
all the other
Like,
stuff that you do. I
yeah.
think that's what's holding me back. I'd like to do a try one day, but it's like I have to throw like cycling. I love biking. Like for the most part, I
Yeah.
if I can get away with it and the weather is playing nice, I usually bike commute to work anyways. But then I
Mhm.
have to throw like swimming into the mix of all that stuff. That's like a whole different um, thing that you have to take on. So
Mhm. Yeah.
so next goal, it can be running related or not actually if you want it to be. But what's your like next goal or like next milestone or next thing that you're trying to take on?
I love the world majors. I'm almost done competing that for a second time. And basically just run. I'm trying to break 3 hours in the marathon, and I've hit 3:04 a couple
Oh
times,
wow.
and so I usually run about 10 to 15 marathons a year. So um it's I usually when I go to the starting line, I'm pretty tired, and also I'm still training for Ironmans. So I think next serious goal with this year will be to break 3 hours in the marathon.
Oh wow, yeah. I couldn't even fathom breaking a 3 hour marathon. But oh, so if you ran 50 states, 50 marathon, 50 states, you must have ran in Indiana, obviously. What
Uh-huh.
marathon did you run? Which
Po-
marathon did you run in Indiana?
Pocanello. Not
Okay.
sure where that is. Pocanello.
Was it Monumental or the?
No, it was the smaller 50 states one that I had to find towards the end.
Okay,
I forget
cool.
Pocanello. It was put
I
on. I'll
haven't.
tell you who was. Yeah, it was put on by the mainly marathon organization.
Oh, okay, yeah. Um, I've ran the Indy Mini once. It was really fun.
Yeah,
Yeah, if you ever get to come back to Indiana and do a marathon, like everyone talks about how amazing the Indy Monumental Marathon is. So
I would love to because I love to repeat. Now that I'm done with the 50 states, I want to run marathons that people really are suggesting, and that would be fun for me.
yeah, that's like a huge deal when that's
Hmm.
going on in this area.
It's October, right?
Um,
Is that October?
I think it's
Yeah,
October.
I think so
Don't
too.
hold me. There's so much. There's like so many
Yeah,
races in Indy in October. But
yeah.
well, if you could, I have to ask you two questions. Do you
Hmm.
listen to music while you run at all or exercise at all?
Yeah, I love the 80s music. That's
Okay.
usually I'm always running with somebody, so I very, very rarely listen to music because I'm always running with somebody. But did the when I finished the 777, the town sent me to Bruce Springsteen, and that was awesome. Like he was playing
Oh,
at the
cool.
and that
Yeah,
was really cool. I went to go by limo, and that was an awesome experience.
cool.
And he said, "Born to Run." It was just unbelievable.
So, because we also have a music podcast, and we'll ask people like what their pump up music is, or like, so if you had to pick like a pump up song before a run, what would that song be? I'll put this on the playlist too. We have a community playlist where everyone, like people in the community, add their favorite music. We've got over 24 hours of music now on that. So if you
Oh,
had to pick like a pump up song before a run, what would that be?
it would be Dropkick Murphys, the Boston song,
Oh yeah,
Shipping Up to
coming.
Boston.
Yeah, shipping up to. Oh wow, I love that. I
That's a
love.
good one, right? Because that's
Yeah,
literally like the story of I'm going home, I'm coming home.
I'll add that on the playlist. Yeah, I love the Dropkick Murphys too. So that's really
Yeah, they're
cool.
really fun. I love that Boston song.
Okay. Okay, one more question. I don't want to take up too much of your time,
You good?
but it's been awesome having you on. It's been
Thank
really
you.
cool. Yeah, I just like barely scratched the surface, and I was like, I kept finding more stuff out about you. I was like, oh wow. I'll have to check. I'll have to tune into your TED talk. I didn't get a chance to listen to that yet, and it looks
Yeah.
really interesting. So, um, yeah, I'm super stoked to check that out.
Hmm.
If you could leave our listeners with like some closing advice or just like some like words of wisdom, what would that be?
Follow your dreams. Find whatever it is that you're passionate about. And if you try something and it's not for you, move on to the next thing until you find whatever it is that you like. And keep showing up, whether it's work or whether it's relationship or whether it's exercising. Just keep showing up, and you're going to get out of life what you put into it. So, and ask for help. Don't be afraid to share your goals with your friends and family and say, can you help me out? Can you run with me? Can you, or whether it's your first 5K or shoot for the moon, and just see what comes up. You'll be and I always say I've never regretted a run. So if you're on the fence, and just lace up and go. That's the beauty of it. And buy yourself new clothes, buy yourself new sneakers. You deserve it, and enjoy it. And if there's anything that I can do to support you, let me know. I'm on Instagram, Strava, whatever you need.
Yeah, absolutely. And tell everybody where they can find you on Instagram.
Becca Pizzi, and then my website's beccapizzi.com.
Cool. Yeah. I can't wait to follow along and see. So you got some triathlons coming up. You're talking about redoing some of the 50 states. So it'd be really cool to follow along and see you keep crushing it. Um, and I look forward to following along with the 7 and 7. That's so cool. I Yeah, I'm just like blown away by this. Like the first time I heard about it, I think I was like reading when me and you kind of broke the ice through email, and I was just like, "What
Mm-hmm.
is this?" Like, so that
Yeah.
I did not know that was a thing, and then I saw obviously Paul Johnson run the Antarctic thing. And
Yeah.
it's just bonkers to me, and that is
Mm-hmm.
just like the raddest thing ever. Uh, but I appreciate your time with us. It's been really cool getting to know you.
Nice to meet you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, thank you for coming on, and thank you everyone for listening. Like I said, we can't do this without your support. So tuning in and listening it means the world to us. And Becca, I appreciate your time for giving me this hour. It's Time is one of the best gifts you can give someone. So I really, really appreciate sitting down with you and talking to you. And I can't wait to get to know you more.
Yeah.
And everybody out there, I will see you soon on the next episode of Beyond the Finish Line. And I will get to hopefully we'll have some special guests coming on, and I'll see you all beyond the finish line.